phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
One of the hottest topics right now in football is a high school football game that took part this past weekend, nationally aired on television across the United States on ESPN between IMG Academy and Bishop Sycamore. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, no duh, it's talked about. IMG Academy is one of the top high school teams in the nation that produces some of the top talent year in and year out, since they have a lot of Division I football players on their roster. But that's not the case at all, as everybody is actually talking about the opposing team in Bishop Sycamore. This is B. Kelly, back again with another banger video. In today's video, y'all, I'm going to be talking about the Bishop Sycamore situation. And before we move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as it does help grow the channel and I highly appreciate it, as we are on the road to 10K. Now let's get into it. To start off this whole situation that's currently happening right now with Bishop Sycamore, we have to take it all the way to the beginning, where problems really started to erupt and they really started to make a name for themselves, all for the wrong reasons, on national television. On August 29th, on a Sunday in Canton, Ohio, Bishop Sycamore took on IMG Academy, who's one of the top teams in the nation for high school football. And this game was broadcasted live nationally on ESPN, and they would end up getting destroyed 58-0. This game was broadcasted live nationally, like I have said, on ESPN, and it was featuring one of the top teams in the nation. So you would at least expect Bishop Sycamore to put up at least somewhat of a fight, not to get completely destroyed like that. And if you watch the game, you could tell that Bishop Sycamore was nowhere near the level of IMG Academy, which a lot of teams really aren't, to be honest. But it's the way how they played. It's the way how many people they had against a team like IMG, and just the fact of how bad they actually played against one of the top teams in the nation. Bishop Sycamore was such a suspect team that ESPN was even calling them out on the live broadcast. According to one of the broadcasters for that game, they were told by Bishop Sycamore that they had D1 talent players that were getting looked at by multiple Division I schools, and it was a roster that was going to compete with IMG. But that was far from the case, as even during the broadcast, their announcers were saying they were not able to find any of their players they were talking about in their recruiting bases or any of the other recruiting sites' databases either. The broadcaster in that game, Andy Schroff, had this to say. Bishop Sycamore told us they had a number of Division I prospects on their roster, and to be frank, a lot of that we could not verify. They did not show up in our database. They did not show up in the databases of other recruiting services. So, okay, that's what you're telling us? Fine. That's how we take it in. From what we've seen so far, this is not a fair fight. And there's got to be a point where you're worried about health and safety. Something else that stirred up some more controversy was that this same Bishop Sycamore team played 2 games in 3 days. Yes, you heard that right. 2 games in 3 days. They played Stowe Rocks Friday, and they lost 19-7. And a couple days later, they played IMG Academy to lose 58-0. An athletic director in Ohio and football coach Tim Tyrell said they're not a high school. After this game, Bishop Sycamore started getting a lot of allegations on their name, such as there's allegedly never been a Bishop Sycamore, they're not a high school, they played 2 games in 3 days, their head coach has an active arrest warrant, and most of the players are junior college dropouts who are nowhere near high school age. A former Bishop Sycamore player would even go so far to start exposing them for what they used to do, such as sleeping on the floor, living in hotels, paying with bounce checks, no education, no campus, and having to rob grocery stores to eat. And things were even being promoted about Bishop Sycamore when they were getting players in different ways, such as they were going to get more looks playing for them than other high school teams out there. They were going to become a powerhouse like IMG and control the Midwest. They were going to be on Netflix. This was going to be a place where they could increase their GPA and potentially get more looks and more offers for the collegiate and D1 level. Now, let's get back to some of the allegations that they have on their name. And first, I'm going to be talking about the accusation that they have former JUCO players on their team that dropped out and joined them to play high school football again. A couple former players that were interviewed by Complex said they did not have any actual JUCO players that played there while they were there, but they did have players that were 20 and 21 years old. With all these interviews coming out about former Bishop Sycamore players, there is a key theme to all of them, all about the former head coach of Roy Johnson, who had the arrest warrant out for his name during the IMG game that they played, but has since then been fired. All the players that would talk about him said the same thing over and over again, is that they were promised a lot to go play for Bishop Sycamore, but nothing, and nothing even close, came to happening that was actually supposed to happen. The only thing that people could say about the then head coach of Bishop Sycamore is that he was good at convincing and talking, but that was about it. He was quite literally a scam artist, and he was a scam artist to all the people that joined his football team, as he never lived up to any of the promises that he said. I mean, it's pretty clear that he is pretty good at scamming and convincing people while he is talking, as he got a nationally televised game on ESPN versus IMG in which they lost 58-0. And of course, we cannot ignore the fact that ESPN fell for this. I mean, this is something that you should not be falling for if you do your research. In 2020, they went 0-6, and they even played IMG in their last game where they lost 56-6. And not to mention, they were 0-2 going into that game with a loss to Archbishop Hoban 38-0 and Stowe Rocks 19-7. They only scored 7 points in 2 games, and going against one of the top teams in the nation while you have not won a game in 2 years is not going to be good, especially when you already lost to IMG the year before 56-6. I don't know how you don't do research to check how good a team actually is. Just because they're playing IMG doesn't mean they're going to be a good team. I mean, there's a reason why they lost 58-0 and looked atrocious out there. Now, just because of everything being said right now and all the memes that are being made about Bishop Sycamore football, the players aren't exactly keeping quiet either that are currently on the team. They are speaking out and they're defending themselves and their team and all their teammates and anybody involved with that team. On a recent Instagram post by Hayes Fawcett 3, by the way, go check out his page. It is a great page, and y'all should all go follow him right now. The starting quarterback for Bishop Sycamore, Trillian Harris, had this to say: "I don't even want the exposure. I want the truth out. I am the oldest. I'm 19 years old. Due to and not having a senior season, I have decided it would be best to reclassify, take credits to graduate early in 2022. When I decided to come, I asked a couple of my teammates, and they wanted bigger opportunities to play. We made that decision. Since I've been here, I've been the oldest. Us being a fake high school is not true. We aren't your traditional high school that goes to school 7 to 8 hours a day. We get up every day at 5 a.m., workout, practice, school, practice again, and then meetings. We are just like SFA and IMG. We are on a building stage and looking to do something great with it." Well, guys, if you guys have made it this far in the video, leave something in the comments below of your thoughts on this whole situation. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly, out.